So a while ago, I did a video asking people who the big seven of the Avengers were. For those of you that don't know what the big seven are, they are the 7 founding members or biggest members of the Justice League. Those members being Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, Barry Allen, The Flash, Aquaman, and Martian Manhunter. These are typically the most iconic members and the biggest members of the Justice League. We even see that when some of the members are missing from the Big Seven, the concept stays alive in some way, shape, or form. During the JLA run in the 90s to early 2000s, both Hal Jordan and Barry Allen were dead, but their respective replacements, Kyle Rayner and Wally West, served as the Big Seven. During the same run, Wonder Woman disappears and Hippolyta takes her place. And then during Rebirth, Mera takes over from Aquaman. And then during New 52, Cyborg takes Martian Manhunter's place as a member of the Big Seven. And in my original video, I asked everyone, who were the Big Seven of the Avengers? But I figured it'd be fun if I gave you guys my Big Seven for some of the most popular teams from both DC and Marvel. And on top of that, let's have a little fun, and I'm going to give you who I think their trinity, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, are on each team. This, of course, is just for fun, and it's just my opinion, but the one rule I will stick to is it has to be 7 members. The 7 people I think are the most iconic for their team. So let's get the big one out of the way, and that's the Avengers. Despite having so many members, I feel as though I found the 7 that represent the Avengers the most, at least in my mind. And for me, it would be Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Quicksilver, Vision, Scarlet Witch, and the Hulk. I flirted with having Black Panther or Hawkeye as a member of the Big Seven, but in terms of iconicness and time on the team, I feel as though these 7 are the ones that represent the Avengers the most. I even flirted with the idea of Beast because he was on the team for some time. And it goes without saying, their trinity, their Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman would be Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor. Let's do the Teen Titans, or Titans next. And don't be confused, that's not Batman, that's Dick Grayson. This one was super easy. It's basically the George Perez and Marv Wolfman new Teen Titan lineup. Original founding members, Donna Troy, Dick Grayson, and Wally West, also known as Wonder Girl, Robin, then Nightwing, and Kid Flash, then Flash. And then the newer members that came out in the 80s, Starfire, Raven, Cyborg, and Beast Boy, or as I grew up with him as Changeling. And of course the trinity here is pretty easy. It's going to be Wally West, Dick Grayson, and Donna Troy. Probably the hardest one to do, the X-Men. It's gonna suck because there's a lot of people that could be a Big 7 on the X-Men because their roster is so iconic. This one sucked. But for me, it is Cyclops, Wolverine, Storm, Colossus, Nightcrawler, Rogue, and Jean Grey. The 4 characters I flirted with putting on this roster of 7 was Iceman, Beast, Gambit, and Kitty Pryde. And the X-Men is a prime example of 7 is just not enough for an iconic team. Obviously, I had to have Storm, Wolverine, and Cyclops as the trinity of the X-Men. They are, in my opinion, the most iconic members of the team. Jean almost got kicked out for another character, but Jean is so iconic with the X-Men, despite the fact that she's not always on the team. She's either dead or she's Phoenix or whatever the case may be, but Jean is just too iconic. And when it came down to Rogue, Beast, Iceman, or Gambit, I had to take Rogue out of that group. And I'm a big sucker for the giant-sized X-Men, so I had to put Nightcrawler and Colossus. I love these characters. I think they're some of the most underrated X-Men. Let's jump over and do the Suicide Squad, which had probably one of the most amount of members on their teams due to the nature of their storytelling, being disposable, not heroes. And with all the different iterations, you can shuffle a lot of people in and out. Some of these are newer characters, but very few members of the team actually stay on there for a long time. Like Rick Flag, Deadshot, and Bronze Tiger are probably the longest tenured ones, and Captain Boomerang. But yeah, the iconic members of the Suicide Squad, or the Big Seven, would have to be Harley, Deadshot, Rick Flag, Captain Boomerang, Peacemaker, King Shark, and Bronze Tiger. Peacemaker and King Shark are newer members, but in their short amount of time, they made a tremendous amount of impact for this team. And I flirted with having Bronze Tiger be in place of Rick Flag as one of the Trinity, but Bronze Tiger hasn't been on the team for a long time, where Rick Flag has been more prevalent lately, so yeah. Let's talk about the Justice League Dark, a very underrated team. On the Justice League Dark, I would say their Big Seven is Constantine, Zatanna, Deadman, Madame Xanadu, Detective Chimp, Wonder Woman, and Swamp Thing. I felt irky putting Wonder Woman as a Big Seven because she's already on the Justice League, and you could have given the spot to someone else, like Etrigan or Dr. Fate or any Ragman, any of the other members that have been on the team. However, Wonder Woman's contributions to the comic since Rebirth cannot be denied. And of course, the Trinity for this team is Constantine, Zatanna, and Deadman. The JSA was also hard after the first 3 or 4, but here's my lineup for the JSA. Without a doubt, you gotta have Jay Garrick, Alan Scott, and Ted Grant, Flash, Green Lantern, and Wildcat on there. And they're my Trinity for the JSA, although Hawkman could edge himself in there. And then you got Dr. Midnight, Hawkman, Mr. Terrific, the GOAT, and Dr. Fate. I flirted with the idea of putting someone like Stargirl on there, like the younger generation, but I feel as though this represents what the JSA is to me, at least in their most iconic form. And the last one I did was Young Justice. Young Justice was the hardest team because other than the core 3 or 4 members, and you know who I'm talking about, it's kind of hard to figure out who the Big Seven would be, but I think I did a pretty good job. And of course, this is going to be me personally, so I might have put some biasness on this. But the big 3 or the Trinity have to be, of course, Wonder Girl, Tim Drake, Robin, and Connor Kent, Superboy. But then also you got to have Impulse. Bart Allen has to be on the team. And then I needed to have Red Tornado. Although he's not a younger character, he was still a staple on the team. And then I put Amethyst and Naomi, newer members of the team, especially during Rebirth. But I like the characters, and frankly, there's not many that are better than these two, at least in my opinion. I know people would want to put Aranetta on there, but I like both Naomi and Amethyst, so I threw them on there. And you might have noticed I did a little bit more DC than Marvel. That's because when I think about it, like, the Fantastic Four technically could make a Big Seven, but the Fantastic Four is all about 4 members. And then I could do another X-Force or X-Factor, but I'd be reusing some X-Men, and I don't really give a shit about the Thunderbolts. I don't read it, so I don't think I would be qualified to give a Big Seven. And same with Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't really read that either. I also flirted with doing a West Coast Avengers one, but it's all good. So what's your Big Seven for any given team? It could be the teams here, or it could be another superhero team. I don't care. The rules are simple. It has to be 7 members that you think are the most iconic, and you have to give me what you think their Trinity would be. Comment, stitch, duet. I want to know.